not to mention on a Thursday. Introduction. Who was Goliath? What made him a giant? Are there evidence of giants? The significance of killing Goliath in the Bible in relation to Jesus. Fascinating fact. Who was Goliath? Goliath was a giant, and he was a very famous giant. He was known as Goliath the Gittite, and he was 8 feet and 11 inches. He was described as the champion of the Philistines. So it was said that in the Bible he lived at 10th century BC in a city of Gath, which is now modern Tel Es Safi. In Samuel 17:4, chapter 17, verse 4, his height was 6 cubits and a span. A cubit is 54 centimeters, and a span is 22 centimeters. So Goliath was famously slain by David, and David later became king. Goliath the giant had actually left, was slain. Who was Goliath? Oh, this is the list of references here, which are there. What made him a giant? Goliath had a hereditary pyruvate disorder due to AIP, aryl hydrocarbon receptor interacting protein gene mutation. This caused gigantism or acromegaly. So Goliath had an autosomal dominant inheritance of the faulty API gene. So he got it from a parent who had this dominant faulty gene. It was in his family tree. So it's usually the gene causes a benign tumor or adenoma, and the adenoma produces more growth hormone, which fuels gigantism. And there was a few mutations in the API gene out of the family history tree. Acromegaly is a very rare disorder. It's where what happens is that there's a benign tumor near the pituitary gland, which grows too much growth hormone, and it causes the body tissues and bones to grow too fast, and you have abnormally large hands and feet. The pituitary gland is a small bean-sized gland at the bottom of the brain, behind the nose and between the ears. It produces hormones that control growth, blood pressure, and reproduction. And these are the references. I hope they don't mind me using it for this video. Other evidence of giants. The first mention of giants is in the Bible, Nephilim, in Genesis chapter 6, verses 1-4. The giants were regarded positively as heroes, but they became the enemies of the Hebrews later on. So it was found that the race of Nephilim was present before and after the flood, and this is in Numbers 13, chapter 13, verse 32-33. The relationship between the different families of the giants is unclear, though. There are different races of giants. There are the Emites, the Ammonites, the Anakites, the Rephaim. This is seen in Deuteronomy chapter 2, verse 10-11, and existed after the flood. Goliath's first son, called Axadactylus, had on every hand 6 fingers and every foot 6 toes. This is in Samuel chapter 21, verse 20-21. Goliath's family tree suggests that there is a hereditary autosomal dominant pituitary gene, such as AIP2. The consequence of slaying Goliath in Bible in relation to Jesus. David killed Goliath by throwing a stone at the forehead. Because Goliath's tumor of the pituitary gland is affecting his lateral vision, and could not see the stone and dodge it. So basically, the pituitary gland causes a visual disturbance in the optic nerve and could not miss a shot from David, the shepherd. It was Vladimir Berginger in 2003 paper that recognised Goliath had a pituitary tumour. And he noticed this in the painting of David and Goliath, drawn by Puget in the 18th century. And there's noticeability of his acromegaly, or gigantism, on the severed head of Goliath. David was made king, and he was made the greatest king of Israel. He was thought to be the greatest king of Israel. Jesus was a descendant of King David. The Jews believed Jesus was the Messiah, chosen by God, so Israel would have its chosen land established. The name Jesus is a Hebrew name, Yeshua, which has based on the Semitic root Hebrew and meaning to deliver or rescue. Jesus saved humanity through his death and resurrection by breaking down the barrier to God and absolving us all of our sins. These are the references. I hope they don't mind me using it. One fascinating fact: a champion called Goliath was inscripted in 2017 in a Philistine capital, and the inscription was on a sherd of pottery found lying on the floor of a house dated in 9th century BC. That's the end.